saw that Jesus is speaking there. He was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well."
So back in my corporate career, I would travel on my Fidelity expense account. I didn't have to do it a lot, but when I did, I usually had a pretty full day in Boston in the office, and then I'd go over to Logan and fly wherever I was getting, and arrive there late at night. And by the time I got there, of course, you know, and you guys have all done it, you fly, you do the rental car, you do the check-in at the hotel. It's like by the time they finally let you lie down, you could sleep in the lobby, you could sleep in the best in your car. And all I wanted to do was sleep for 100 years. I had a rule though, that I had to take a shower. Because at most hotels, the showers were fine, right? They were fine. But occasionally, they were amazing. And I didn't want to waste an opportunity to have some amazing in my life. In today's reading, Jesus is trying to get us to see that God is offering us something so much more than fine. God is offering us amazing. And is offering us amazing when we're not expecting anything. Now, in this part of the story, Jesus is on the borderland between Samaria and Galilee. Because of history and religion, those two people go out of their way to avoid each other. The normal route, if you are going to go from Galilee, which is way up in the north, to Jerusalem, as Jesus is doing, is that you go around Samaria. You go on the seacoast and you go miles out of your way on a journey that most people are taking by foot. Most people are walking. But Jesus, he's going straight through Samaria, sharing his teaching with anyone who will listen. And by this point, Jesus has already been turned away from a Samaritan village because he's headed to Jerusalem. But Jesus is comfortable in these unwelcoming spaces. Jesus is comfortable in these borderlands. Plus, you know, disease knows no borders, and among other things, Jesus is a healer. So 10 men with skin disease call out to Jesus, asking for mercy. And that can be food, or money, or healing, or just simple human touch. Jesus sends them to the priests who need to certify them as free of their disease. And they go. And what an act of faith. Because when they leave Jesus, they are not healed. They go, assuming that by the time they reach the priests, they will be. And if the reading stopped there, what a wonderful thing to preach on, right? When you're blind and your sight is restored, you know you've been healed. When you can't speak and then you can, you know you've been healed. But Jesus sends them off to the priests, in essence giving them the thing they had been longing for, a way to return to their families and their community that the skin disease wouldn't allow them to be a part of. We talked, I would say a few weeks ago, a few months ago, about how sometimes we're healed even if it doesn't look like that on the outside. And here Jesus is healing them on the outside in just the way they want, so everyone can see, so they can get their lives back. But when they leave Jesus, they're not healed. It says, and as they went to the priest, as they went, they were made clean. What an act of faith. But one guy, a foreigner, well, that's because who's writing the story, right? If the Samaritans were writing the story, they'd be like, the local. A Samaritan, one of those people, those outsiders, turns back and falls at Jesus' feet to thank him. And the reading goes on to ask about the 9 guys who kept going, who didn't turn back, who went to the priests and got their blessing and returned to their families and their lives, and were doubtless fine with how it had all turned out. But the one guy, Jesus tells him that his faith has made him well. And another way to translate that is that his faith has saved him. For Luke, who wrote this part of this gospel, the experience of the good news should turn you around. It should turn you back. Your life should have a U-turn in it when you discover how much you are loved by God. And this one guy, the guy you would least expect it from, had that U-turn. He did turn back. And more than healed, he discovered that his life has been saved. That Jesus was offering him something so much more than fine. Jesus was offering him amazing. Jesus tells him to get up, a phrase that is used in other places for resurrection. Jesus is offering him life after death, a new life when the old life passes away. And knowing that God can do that God is trying to do that, to offer us so much more than fine, to offer us amazing. And all we have to do is turn back, to offer thanks, to recognize that we have so much from God to be thankful for. Now I know that this passage is often used by people to beat themselves up. Jesus says to the Samaritan, your faith has made you well. And people hear that and they look at the diseases they're struggling with and they think, well, if my faith were strong enough, I would be well. Or maybe somehow we only need faith to face medical conditions, that healing for other types of dis-ease does not come through faith. And anyways, if the point is about gratitude, then we should be grateful for every breath and every heartbeat. And who can possibly send all those thank you notes? But let me ask you this. Is there not some borderland inside yourself? Some place you go out of your way to avoid? Some place that is calling out for mercy and forgiveness? Is there not some borderland place inside yourself where Jesus is waiting for you? Ready to heal you, ready to turn dis-ease into ease. Ready to turn not fine into fine. Is there not some borderland place inside you that can be healed, that God is waiting for you to turn around and allow God to heal? Is there not some borderland place that God is offering to resurrect? Because maybe it is worth taking that journey, even with its turning around and all the extra steps and offering thanks, because God is offering you more than fine. God is offering you amazing if you are willing to take that journey.